If we define what do we mean by young people, there is this external perception that young people are a homogeneous group. This is not the reality. We have also young people in vulnerable settings. We have young people with disabilities, and we have foremost young women.
But again, a population that is ill-skilled and unemployed can be a demographic curse. So this is the challenge, but the opportunity is in us trying to convert this demographic dividend into opportunities.
But also young people as being the largest population, they are our biggest asset.
Because the richness of nations is not in stones, but in its people.
It's never been more important to develop our youth into confident and transformational leaders that can navigate Africa through the incoming economic and political climates. Africa's youth are faced with growing concerns about how to thrive in their purpose, and that's where United Africa comes in. Founded in 2017, we are Africa's flagship youth leadership program, following the youth's greater demands in expanding our work from the East African community to the continent.
There are many challenges facing young people on the African continent. The biggest one of them is that each and every one of the young people in Africa have the desire to become a leader. I think investments should be made more to build the capacity of young, effective leaders.
Under globalization, the world is small. The whole world outside there has skills. We need to equip our youth with the requisite skills so that they participate properly, even in global interaction.
And this means that we need to do more to create economic opportunities and work opportunities for young people.
ULEAD for me represents that opportunity for young people to first of all think about their problems collectively and then develop, if it be disruptive strategies to take action on addressing those challenges.
The summit is not just a 3 days or 4 or 5 days event for young people to come and chit-chat and go home. Whatever they are saying is influencing our one-year work, what we call the post-summit agenda.
With now more than 10,000 alumni and over 30 partners, and active partner-led work in all 5 major African regions, a One Young Africa is our vision.
We have a great vision. We're envisioning 150 delegates in person, 20,000 virtually, but this is not to me the only success indicator. The success indicator is ensuring that all these 20,000 young people virtually provide inputs and meaningfully engage throughout the conversation, and all their suggestions are then incorporated into our post-summit agenda.
Look at 2017, just East Africa coming together, and now thousands of African young people.
ULEAD Summit 2021. We are proud to announce that we are going continental, coming together as a One Young Africa.
And we want actually to break the borders. The CFTA is here. We want African young people to come together under ULEAD Summit platform, trade together across the borders, innovate together across the borders, and create jobs as well as prosper together.
That's what drove us to become, One Young Africa. We have the potential and the capacity to do so.
From 8th to 12th November 2021, we are hosting Africa's largest hybrid summer ever with ULEAD Africa's patron, His Excellency Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, former President of Tanzania as Chief Convener, and Honorable Dr. Peter Matuki, the EAC Secretary General as co-convener. The theme is The Future of Africa, creating jobs, feeding and housing the world's youngest continent.
I call upon policymakers, development partners, the private sector, media, civil society, and other stakeholders to be part of and support the East African community in convening this year's ULEAD Summit.
It will attract participation from all the partner states of the EAC and indeed the continent. I thank you. Asanteni sana. See you in Arusha. Tujenge vijana wetu.
Since 2017, ULEAD Summit as popularly known, is jointly convened annually by the East African Community and MS Training Center for Development Cooperation in Arusha, Tanzania, in collaboration with a myriad of partners.
COVID-19 is both a blessing and a curse, equally.
We have seen how the COVID pandemic has hit very hard young people.
And this is why You Lead Africa will bring together more than 15,000 people on a single platform, because travel is restricted, but more people come together through the internet, courtesy of COVID-19.
We are welcoming a virtual and physical audience from all African countries together on the same platform.
Nonetheless, COVID-19 has reduced the opportunities for young people. Young people have lost jobs, and COVID-19 pushes us beyond the boundary to innovate and create jobs that we have lost using COVID-friendly mechanisms such as online platforms, as well as increased cooperation between and among young people across the borders, especially under the CFTA, which regards that trade should happen beyond borders of any country.
The 2021 summit will be delivered in the form of thematic forums. The Under 40 Political Leaders Forum, which examines current representative democracy models. The Under 40 Business Leaders Forum assesses the existing environment for doing business.
So it is important to engage and involve youth from initial discussion about our drive to promote continental free trade area.
The Arusha debate is infused into your lead summit to generate insights into how to make social and economic development a reality.
Yes, so the Arusha debate is being convened by ourselves, MSTCDC. As you know, we're quite curious, but also propagate Pan-Africanism and knowledge that is homegrown and bred.
Arusha hosts a number of higher education institutions, and it's the right place for hosting the Arusha debates. The Tanzanian government has been so keen under the leadership of Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan in getting all the youth participate.
The Arusha Peace Model showcases models that promote the role of youth in peace building. The Gender Equality Forum discusses ways to dismantle the structural causes at the root of gender inequality. East Africa Tubonge, a joint flagship initiative of You Lead Africa and Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, KYPA, to foster young leaders' legislative enlightenment. You Lead Summit 2021 Key Milestones. Launch of the East African Youth Agenda. Unveiling the inaugural EAC You Lead Fellowship. Launch of the Youth Governance Architecture Study Series. Unveiling the Elected Young Leaders Performance and Cooperation Peer Review Mechanism. Launch of the Arusha Debate through the inaugural Arusha Debate session. There are so many opportunities for partnership and ways to work with us or contribute financially to our cause. Contact us. You can also connect with us through our social media channels at One Young Africa.
You Lead Summit 2019 is the Africa that we want.
And I really appreciate You Lead Summit for giving us a platform on how we can build a collective power to create a sustainable movement that will help us create change in our society.
So I'm very, very happy to participate in You Lead Summit 2019.
You Lead Summit is really awesome.
You Lead Summit Youth Power.
You Lead Summit is empowering.
You Lead Africa, a One Young Africa where dreams are born and youth become leaders.
The You Lead Summit 2021 is here. Since 2017, the You Lead Summit has been jointly convened by the East African Community and MS Training Center for Development Cooperation in Arusha, Tanzania. This annual climax event is now East Africa's largest and most diverse forum for young leaders, mentors, government policymakers, development partners, academia, media, private sector and civil society from all over the continent. to craft responses to the continent's rapidly growing youth population, their challenges and opportunities. Wondering how to become a delegate? Head over to our website www.uleadsummit.org. Follow the prompts and enter all the required information and submit. After submission, your application will go through assessment, review, and finally admission. Admitted delegates will be announced weekly on our platforms until we officially close applications. One day before the summit, delegates will be able to log in and get acquainted with our virtual space. You will be able to visit partner booths and product stands, check the forums you've registered for, view the conferencing environment, confirm venues for all your sessions, network with fellow delegates via our live chat room and lounge, and view the conference schedule. Once the summit kicks off, you will be ushered into our virtual summit lobby where you can ask questions at the info desk and speak directly to us. At this point, you can navigate to different areas of the summit. The exhibition hall. Here you will find a collection of booths by our partners and sponsors. In these booths, you can interact with our partners and sponsors directly via live chat, and you can view and save uploaded documents and videos, as well as view products and services. Auditoriums. The ULEAD Summit comprises several thematic sessions. The Under 40 Political Leaders Forum, the Arusha Peace Forum, the Gender Equality Forum, the Arusha Debates partner-led workshop sessions, and East Africa to Bonge. You will have access to all these auditoriums where you can watch live and semi-live webinars. You can also ask questions and talk to fellow delegates and other attendees in the live text chat. The lounge. Here you can live chat with other attendees and delegates in between sessions. So log on to www.uleadsummit.org to register and apply.
And there you have it. Register and apply for the ULEAD Summit. For those of you that have not yet applied, good morning, Tanzania, and you are most welcome to the consultations on the East African Community Youth Agenda, the East Africa we want. We are happy that as young people, you have taken time off to come and co-create this key and fundamental document towards a regional block that we need. First, my name is Sebastian, Segawa Ivan Sebastian. I am the regional coordinator of the East African Community Youth Ambassadors platform, and I will be your host today. I just to also quickly introduce the team that will be supporting. We have Fiona Kemi, we have Beatrice Marandu, we have Kazeneza Huguet. You will see them, they will be supporting on chat. So if you need any help, you are welcome to check with my team that will be helping in support. Also notably, for those of you who are keen to introduce yourself, you can tell us in the chat your name, your organization, and we are also happy to know where in Tanzania you are right now. All right, so fast forward, today we are having a very, very important discussion we're going to hold here, and that is the consultation. And we all know that the young people in East Africa, we are the majority, and we are an estimated about 82 million youth within the region. And that means that most of the things that happen at all levels, national or at regional level, directly impact us and our way of life. It is also important to note that the East African community grows on a principle of people-centered integration. And that principle can only and only be realized when the majority of those people are accommodated through the integration process. Ladies and gentlemen, briefly, I want to talk about this agenda and what exactly it envisions for us. And I want to give you a brief background of where the agenda came from and how we came about these consultations. The EAC Youth Agenda, as we know it, is designed to be informed by two of ULEAD Africa's Youth Governance Architecture Studies. And the first one is the Youth Governance Architecture Study on Youth Inclusion in Political Governance. and Youth Governance Architecture Study on Youth Inclusion in the Economic Governance. And on this basis, the agenda will be built on the 2 pillars of the East African Community Youth Ambassadors Platform and ULEAD's work: youth in politics and youth in business. It is also important to note that in 2020, EAC and the ULEAD Secretariat worked on the first part of the East African Youth Agenda through the Youth Governance Architecture Study on Youth Inclusion in Political Governance. And this study focused mainly on youth participation in political governance processes. Okay. And then it also assessed the extent to which the policy environment is enabling youth participation in politics and governance processes. And in 2021, the Youth Governance Architecture Study on Youth Inclusion in Economic Governance is also planned to conclude the empirical pillars of the EAC Youth Agenda. Okay, so that is the brief background of the agenda that we are here to seek the voices and co-create with the young people of the Republic of Tanzania. It is also important to note that these consultations were launched during the ULEAD Summit 2020 in Arusha, the EAC Secretariat, and they were launched by His Excellency, former President of Tanzania, Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, who is also ULEAD's patron. And today during this consultation, we are definitely seeking to hear your voices, but we also have dedicated speakers that we would love to hear from. And I will briefly give you some of the bios of the speakers that we are going to be having today. We shall have Mr. Ahmed Salim. Mr. Ahmed is the Executive Director of the Asas Group of Companies. We are also delighted to have Honorable Nusrat Hanji, and Honorable Nusrat is a Member of Parliament championing for the establishment of the Tanzanian Youth Council. We also have Mr. Mohammed Basanga, Founder and Executive Director of the Youth Empowerment and Mindset Organization, and that is YEMCO, and they are dealing with economic empowerment activities and supporting women through small loans for business startups, and to ensure that very many women in Tanzania have a standing when it comes to businesses. We also have Ahlam Abdallah Azan, and this is a member of the Zanzibar Youth Council. So it is safe to say that today we are having youth members of parliament, we are having young people in business, we are having young people in civil society leadership, we are having the National Youth Council represented here, and we are definitely having the rest of the young people who matter the most, which is the rest of us on the call. Okay, so briefly to take us through the conversation, I am going to have about 5 thematic areas for us to discuss, and this is going to be the run of show. First, we are going to share on a topical basis. We shall have a few questions, and some questions will be directed to our panelists, and then some questions will be open for the audience to engage. But feel free, if you have a response or a question or any submission, to share it on chat, and I will be able to go down there sometime and read them out very loudly. But even if I don't get that opportunity, you can rest assured that we shall be able to capture that information, so that it also contributes to what we shall be feeding into the youth agenda. All right, so every after thematic that we shall be discussing, I talked about 5 thematics. We shall also be putting up a poll so that we can have your voices also heard in an empirical nature towards that poll. Okay, so the first will be the access to quality education and training. We shall also have employment rates and working conditions, costs and the ease of doing business with youth, enabling the enabling environment, and that will include policies and institutional frameworks for youth participation in economic governance. And lastly, the leadership for the East Africa we want. I also want to say that we have one of our consortium members who will also join the panel, Mr. Alfred Chiuyo. Mr. Alfred is a member of the Tanzanian Youth Visions Association, and TYVA is a ULEAD consortium member. You are most welcome, all our panelists and all the young people on this call. Okay, so fast forward, we jump into the conversations, and the first are going to have is access to quality education and training. My first question will go to the Honorable Member of Parliament, and I want to ask, Honorable Speaker, Member of Parliament, does the education system in Tanzania prepare young people for the job market demands? Honorable Nusrat?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much for this actually, and I will go direct to respond to the question. First of all, I would like to declare that I'm a teacher also. So despite of the fact that I went through the school system in my country, I also taught that from my own experience. And at this time in our country, we have a very big debate concerning our school system on how does it help our young people or our generation generally. How can they how does our education system be valuable to what we're expecting for the young people or for the graduates to come out and so that education can help them achieve what they want in life and be reasonable to their country. So that debate actually started from the parliament, and I was one of the member of parliament who gave out my contribution when we were discussing about the budget, especially the the Ministry of Education budget. And we discussed about our education system in our country. Fair enough, the ministry now is on the process to review the curriculum so that it can they can improve. But truly, we really have a very big challenge on our education system, because what we see after the people graduate from universities, when they go out to the job market, is first of all, we don't have jobs. There's no employment. Actually, that is across Africa, every African countries, maybe the rest of the world. Education, employment is a problem. So when it comes to education system, it doesn't prepare our young people when they go out from the universities. It doesn't prepare them to match the job demand, because we also have those few jobs, but it looks like even those few people who are able to get the employment, they cannot perform as what their employers expect them to perform. You can find someone graduating from university, maybe she studied BCom, maybe BCom accounts, and maybe accounts and something like that. After you take that person to the bank, and from there you'll find out that that person doesn't know anything about what actually his paper or her paper speak. You may find that person has a very good GPA, but when it comes to performance, it's very different. It's like we are missing some soft skills, or we are just going there at the school so that we can just get those grades and move from one class to the other, and the quality of the education is very low. And that we are comparing also from East African countries, maybe comparing to Kenyans and Ugandans, and actually because we have East African community. So when it comes to employment, you'll see the university product from Kenya and the university product, maybe the same program, you'll find very different here. So in our country, I won't talk about the other countries, the education system, but in our country, we find out that young people or our graduates from our universities and colleges, the quality of education, the quality of people we build there is very different from from their performance after they graduate, maybe after they have been given an opportunity to show what they learn from school. That's one. Number two, apart from talking about the universities and the graduates from the universities, we also have NACTE. NACTE, I don't remember exactly the long term of NACTE. But these are the vocational training, the colleges, the middle colleges, colleges, apart from the universities, the vocational training. Nowadays, you find those people who went to the vocational training and studied one thing, basically. Maybe when you find someone went to study about, maybe VETA, we have VETA here, and someone studied about maybe a specific training on a specific thing, mechanics, you find those people are very committed. And actually, most of them, they're just maybe from four or standard 7. You find them very quality people when it comes to job, disciplined, hardworking, knowing what they're doing, different from those who are graduates from the university. Maybe there's also that arrogant that I have a degree, or maybe I have masters, maybe I have PhD, I cannot do this kind of job. But you find someone with just a diploma. You find them very committed, and they work very hard. From now, we are challenging the university, actually the graduates and the TCU. We have TCU, Tanzania Center for Universities. We are challenging them because it seems that the colleges, vocational training colleges are beating them up when it comes to products. That's where you'll find a graduate from the university also attending training from other colleges so that they can add. So why are we going to the university? We can get so that we can get bachelor degrees and masters. And when it comes to after we graduate, we go back to the vocational training that we want to add something. We need our education system to train people to maybe to employ themselves, because we don't have employment, to think beyond what they are expected, to think out of the box so that they can make our education system work.
Honorable
So it's
Minister,
still a challenge.
Honorable Minister, I hear you advocating for a change in the curriculum to ensure that we have a system that empowers young people with a skill they need. I need to ask you before we probably involve another panelist. Is it then your opinion that in the spirit of integration, we should work towards looking at having one curriculum, a standard curriculum across all the member states?
About what? Curriculum? Oh yeah, our education system for East African member states.
The same curriculum for every East African member state.
I couldn't advise that, because some of us need to improve ourselves first before we went out. I'll talk that I'll speak out when I'm looking at my country. Generally, we need to improve. We need to standardize our level, so because we cannot be in the same level with Kenya, because now we are struggling to at least reach where they are. So at least some of the countries, maybe Uganda and Kenya and Burundi and Tanzania, Burundi, and Uganda, at least we standardize, we reach a certain level, and from there we'll discuss about having one, because we are lagging behind. I'm looking at the Kenyan. They are very different.
Thank you so much for that submission. I now would like to involve someone who was, and we are happy that you are a teacher, because that means that we are getting a perspective from both a lawmaker and someone who has interacted with a system firsthand. Now I would like to invite you, Ahlam Abdallah Azan, and I know that you are a member of the Zanzibar Youth Council, and which in turn means that you have probably interacted with very many young people. Some should have brought you their challenges, and you have seen successes of some. My question to you is then, to what extent do you feel that formal education has prepared the young people for economic success? Mr. Azan, if you could kindly unmute yourself. Great.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, can you hear me? I have
We can't hear you very well. We can hear you.
My name is Ahlam Abdullah Azan, and I'm here to represent Zanzibar Youth Council. As for me, to the access to quality education, training, curriculum, not reflecting that.
All right. Ms. Azan, can you hear us? Azan, can you hear us? All right, I think there is a technical challenge there. My colleagues in support, if you could kindly help me support so that we can clear that up. But right now, I want to quickly involve one of our consortium members, Mr. Alfred Kiuyo. Mr. Alfred, I want you to tell us, and again, I ask this knowing your background with working with young people, and I want to ask you that, okay, you're back?
Yeah.
Great.
As I said earlier, like the mismatch between the quality of education and the job marketing requirements is a major challenge for youth, especially in Tanzania. And as youth, we have identified that the quality of education that we receive different education settings to be too theoretical and not equipping us to be employment opportunities, but also other opportunities, but also contributing to factors to this.
We have lost you again, Ms. Azan. Okay, I will ask one of my colleagues to reach out to Ms. Azan while we proceed with the next speaker. And this is to you, Mr. Alfred. We would like to hear from you on this job market and its demands in the country. Which training actions can best fast track the economic success for young people? Because we have had conversations. The Honorable has told us that some people have PhDs, but you still find them in vocational institutions trying to get skills that would otherwise not think people of their academic level should be seeking. So the question then to you is, which training actions would fast track economic success for young people? Should we focus more on vocational institutions, formal skilling, entrepreneurship? Mr. Alfred?
Hi, everyone. I'm here with Lugome. I'll be sharing his devices because we are in the same place. So okay. Don't get shocked. Yeah, don't get shocked. So thank you very much for the very good question. I think what we need to invest more to see that young people are, okay. I think in the East African community countries, we have young people are less engaged within each other. We have no networks, and we need to invest more into the integration that young people in Kenya can come and work in and do business in Tanzania, and young people business also in Tanzania can come and learn how young people are doing in Kenya and also in Rwanda. I've seen so many young people out there doing some great things, great jobs that can't be shared. We need to share experience between each other so that we can learn from each other. And also, I think we also need to invest so much into vocational trainings, because these are the skills that gives young people a pre-hand. What I can say is a forehand skills that can bring them into jobs. Because one of the things that we have noticed in East African countries or in Tanzania is the young people who have gone to a formal education are the less employed. But the young people who didn't go to school, they just drop out. There are people who do business, and the people who are very successful in businesses. So I think there's something we need to also learn, that doing business is not about you being gone to school. Or there's some small tips that these young people who have not got an opportunity to go to formal schools get disciplines into how to manage funds, how to manage business with the small money that they have. You might take an example of somebody who was a graduate from university, and somebody who has not graduated from the university. Give them the same amount of money. Maybe give them $50,000. Like 50,000 shillings. Maybe it might be Kenyans or TZ. Give them the same amount. Come again into 6 months. Ask them how did they do it. You will find that the one who didn't go to school have made a lot of progress out of that. So we need to also learn from skills that the very, very small, that to advance to a bigger skills.
Thank you so much. And now I would like to conclude this segment of the first topical questions by inviting someone that I feel would add a lot of value. And this is Mr. Ahmed Salima, the Executive Director of Assas Group of Companies. We would like to hear from you, because I know you have interacted with young people, and you know which kind of employees you would want. Again, my question to you is, which training actions do you believe best track economic success for young people? And while Mr. Ahmed comes on, we have launched the poll. So take a moment. For those of you who are using your phones, you will see a notification that says that a poll is in progress. Just tap on it and be able to contribute towards this poll, so that we also capture your sentiments on those questions. Mr. Ahmed. Okay, the team is telling me that Mr. Ahmed dropped. So now let's take a moment, everyone get to your devices and ensure that you fill this poll while we move on. And while you fill the poll, I think it is important for me to also let you know that we are not acting alone as ULEAD Africa and the East African Youth Ambassadors Platform. It is important to know that one of our partners, Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete Foundation, together with them, we are currently designing the East African Community Youth Leadership Fellowship, and the consultations, these consultations we are undertaking will also answer a set of dedicated questions around the leadership for the East Africa we want. And the answers and outcomes of these elements of the consultations will be adopted to enrich and contribute towards the development of the EAC Youth Leadership Fellowship, to be unveiled during the ULEAD Summit 2021, which also makes me encourage the young people out there, if you have not yet registered for the summit, rush to www.uleadsummit.org and apply, because you see almost all the work we are doing today is going to be launched on that day. All right, people that have not yet interacted with the poll, kindly go ahead and answer the poll questions. And now we shall go to the second segment, which is employment rates and working conditions. And the first question is going to go to the Honorable Member of Parliament, Honorable Nusrat. And the question is there a formal minimum wage in your country, depending on the level of education? Honorable Nusrat. Honorable Nusrat, can you hear me?
Hello, can you repeat the question?
Yes, the question is there a formal minimum wage in Tanzania, where you say that if someone has a particular level of qualification, they earn a minimum of this amount?
No, maybe I don't understand your question, but for what I understood, wage from what? After someone,
okay. Let me rephrase. I am asking whether there is a minimum wage depending on the level of education. Let's say if you are a degree holder and the law says the minimum amount you can be paid is say $100 US. If you are a diploma holder, the minimum you can receive is $50. Is there such a policy?
No, I don't think so. Maybe on government employment, I think on government employment.
Okay.
Those who are in employment employed by the government. That's why some people are going out so they can add education and add something on their salary. I think that's what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not something which is in our policy. It's not that taken into consideration.
All right.
Because we have people who studied, they first had the diploma and they had the education and they got a degree, then a master, then PhD, but their wage actually improved, but not that much. And actually, we have bigger challenges more than that. So that is just a piece of cake.
All right.
And in private sector, that is even more.
All right. And now I am in the chat, and I see everyone is contributing. Monsazu Kingu says on one education curriculum, it is a good thing, and it shall help harmonize education standards across the region and equalize competition in the market. In the EAC, as what is given in Kenya will be similar to that in Uganda and Tanzania. Yes, he was sharing his thoughts on the segment where we were discussing a unified curriculum across the region. I see you, Nicholas Muya, from Empower the Community, and all of you that are sharing on the chat, Medad Mtewele, Arif, Fazel, Rajib. Keep sharing those contributions. And for now, I just want to pose this question to the plenary. For it's not to a specific panelist, but if you have a response to each or a contribution, you are welcome to raise your hand, and I will pick on a few of you to share your views. And the question is that do you as a country have affirmative action programs for traditional labor markets to support youth access to employment opportunities when disadvantaged? You've been in Tanzania. Do you know of any affirmative action initiatives that, for example, say if you're a young person, then you have a priority of doing a particular job or some opportunities are specific to you? I am happy to hear from you, young people. Just raise your hand if you have anything to say on that, and I'll be able to pick you out. Yes, Josephat Masanja. You can unmute and share your views.
Okay, definitely. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for this great opportunity and for the good question that you have asked. In case of Tanzania, I have this experience, especially of looking a way forward that how youth is participating in many activities, and particularly in leadership. For instance, I can see now the government of Tanzania is favoring a lot youth to participate in different angles. You can take a very simple example. From now, there is a lot of readers who belongs to this age of youth. They are at 18 up to 35. At district level, you can see we have a lot of district officers. Those have been appointed by our Honorable President, Madam Samia Suluhu Hassan. But also you can have a look on different government institutions, private sector. Of course, there is this direct participation of youth in different angles of leadership. But in case of a broad question that you have asked, I can take some different challenges to share with you today, especially on this seat of leadership in Tanzania, as you said. Of course, there is these notions of being taken youth for granted. They are no longer having experience. And this, I can say, is a broad and a globally cry, and particularly in Africa, is a continent cry that youth are underlaid because they have no experience. But if you find a way to examine that where are these youths going to have this experience, of course, they should have an opportunity to explore. If they extract this opportunity, it's where now they get a chance to learn. If you remember the history of our country, Tanzania, the founding father, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, he was at a youth stage when he was fighting for nationalism of our country. So where does he get experience at that time? Of course, it was a matter of engagement. He tried a lot to engage in leadership, even although there was era of colonialism and all those treasures that have been happened during those days. But he struggled a lot to get experience. And we Tanzania now, we are celebrating the experience of the late Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere of being engaged in leadership. So for me, and representing all other youth in Tanzania, we have a pace of struggling.
All right. Thank you so much, Josephat. I now want to hear from you, Fazel.
Thank you so much. Hope you can hear me well. Confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Fazel.
Thank you so much. So my name is Arif Nurali Fazel. I work with Action Aid Tanzania as youth programs coordinator for Global Platform Tanzania. So responding to the question, let me just read, does your country have affirmative action programs for the traditional labor markets to support youth access to employment opportunities when disadvantaged? So my response to this question is that
Mr. Fazel, if you could unmute yourself, you're muted.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So my name is Arif Nurali Fazel. I work with ActionAid Tanzania as a global platform Tanzania coordinator. I'm passionate on issues of youth, and so responding to the questions on whether the government have affirmative action or programs to address the issues of youth access to employment. My answer is yes. The government of United Republic of Tanzania and ministry responsible for youth, they have a specific program under Tanzania Employment Service Agency, TAESA, which is there to answer or to address the issue of skills mismatch, specific and especially to young people and youth who have graduated and they are supposed to register themselves to this program of TAESA. And TAESA is responsible to look for places for internship for this youth so as to get experience, and with that experience, it helps them to compete with the world market or with the job market. So we have this TAESA. I know it and I've been engaged with it, and you just have to register on it, and TAESA will find a place for you to go and volunteer, and they give you 150 Tanzanian shilling as a stipend for you to facilitate you for transport allowances. But the challenge of this program is that it doesn't have enough budget, and here we have Honorable Nusrat Hanje, MP representing youth to our parliament, can take this agenda and the coming budget, the government to allocate more budget to this program so as to reach many people. But second challenge to this program is that many youth don't have that spirit of volunteerism, because with this program, you are not paid salary. You are going there to volunteer to get experience. That experience will help you get job. Nowadays, you can't get a job without experience. So with your volunteerism spirit will help you get experience, and with that experience will help you get your job. So there is this one program I know, which is under TAESA, which addresses the issue of skills mismatch. But another is the Prime Minister's Office, ministry responsible for youth. They have a number of programs including the apprenticeship, internship and apprenticeship, especially to youth who have skills. So they go to VETA and they are going to a few days course, and they are certified, and then they are known as professional, maybe engineers or whatever. So there is these programs which help the government have set it to help youth to get experience, to get to answer the issue of skill mismatch. Problem, first, we have insufficient budget. Second, information. This information I might be knowing, but someone and other people don't know. So it is our responsibility to take responsibility to make other youth know, but also the government should make sure this information reach to all youth. So that's my response to this question. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fazel. Mr. Kamala Dixon, if you could share your submission very quickly. Mr. Kamala,
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. So me, I have a few issues to share. I see everybody is talking about the demand when you are applying for a job. They ask for the experience. We should all remember that in the operation, we have the government and the private sector. For the private sector, they are profit-oriented, and for them, they don't want to get someone who will just go there to learn. They need someone who has the skills, experience, and knowledge that they can share to once and start producing or immediate reproduction. So the government is, in one time or other, has the opportunity to mentor and make sure that the young people they are going through in some of the systems where they can acquire some of the skills. But then the question is, what capacity is our government can be able to enroll young people in the systems that they can mentor them, or they can prepare them, or to give them the skills that they can acquire to compete in job market. So if there is a little spaces, I heard my friend Arif is mentioning, but if you just look, every year around 10K students graduated from the universities, but it's only 3K that can be enrolled in job market. So that tells you that there is a big number of young people are left out every year, and they have nowhere to go. So to me, I think we could have, with the changing of the policy and internship policy and everything, but I think we need to have a special curriculum. Instead of consisting of the education we are providing currently for 4 years or 3 years, we need to change the last year to have this what we call a private and public partnership. We just call for the private sector and know what the demand they need for young people to have, the skills the young people should have so that they can just be enrolled in job market. And then the government comes with the curriculum, and then every student from the university in the last year, you are getting in a professional training, where after the graduation, immediately you can just join the job market. But otherwise, for this situation we have now, I remember our president, when she was addressing the nation, she mentioned that there is no way you can have someone 7 years in the primary school, 4 years in secondary school, 2 years in secondary school, and you had 4 years or 3 years in university, and after you just ask him or her, just go find for yourself for jobs. He told us that this is not the way we can make this nation work. We need to change. So I think from now, we need to have more dialogues in Tanzania, public-private partnership. We need to have more dialogues to find the solution on how these young people who are graduating from the universities, because I know one of the criteria of education is to change the mind, is change the thinking, is change how you can work, the thoughts you have. So if we can't have graduates with no qualities, then the education doesn't matter anything, because the matter of taking someone to the school to learn, to get experience and knowledge, at the end of the day, he or she must have somewhere to use the skills he has required from academic institution. But if there is nowhere he can utilize the skills, which means the skills you are giving him or her, they are not in one way or other incapable with the current needs in the market. So for me, I think I should hand up there, but I think we need to have more dialogues on how public-private partnership can work, so that we can decrease this number of graduates who have no qualities.
All right, thank you so much. I see your hand, Mr. Juma Erasi, but in the interest of time, let us skip to the next segment. We shall just hear from you, Ms. Azan, very briefly in about 2 minutes, and then we shall move on. For those colleagues that have their hands up, kindly share your submissions on the chat, and we shall be able to capture them so that we can also go on to the other questions. Yes, Ms. Azan.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm also agree with the previous speakers. They have contributed effectively, but as experience from Zanzibar, our government have done tremendous efforts regarding these issues of empowerment, youth, and giving a support to youth. For example, the government of Zanzibar have prepared to provide 7 billion Tanzanian shillings to the youth who are in Zanzibar, who will create and be innovate in doing different kind of projects that will empower other youth. But also the government prepared to provide 300,000 job opportunities to the youth around Zanzibar, Zanzibarian youth, in order to eradicate or to eliminate or to reduce the unemployment opportunities that we are facing. As we all know that there are numbers of unemployment youth each and every day are increasing. So our government are doing a great job, and they are doing a tremendous effort to make sure that as youth, now we can change our mindset also and to be more creative on creating job opportunities that are surrounding us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of that segment. And like I said earlier, every end of segment, we shall have a poll to share so that we capture your opinions. So the poll has been launched. Again, just like you did for the other, just look out on your device where you see poll in progress, go and fill in that poll while we move on. All right. And now we are going to the question of enabling environment. No, the question of our cost and ease of doing business for the youth in the region. And here we are going to be discussing about national and regional economic and business policies, say tax regimes, affirmative action arrangements in favor of youth-led enterprises. And I know some people have already alluded to them. Ms. Azan from the National Youth Council in Zanzibar has told us of initiatives from government to offer startups and capital to the young people who are pursuing business. And now I want to start with you, Mr. Alfred. What are the 3 key challenges that have been faced mostly by youth-led enterprises in Tanzania? Mr. Alfred. Okay, it seems we have lost Mr. Alfred. That question is also open to the rest of us, but I would like to specifically direct it to Ms. Azan from the National Youth Council. You have told us that initiatives are being made to empower the young people in Zanzibar, but then the question is, have you mapped out the main challenges that youth-led businesses have faced?
Thank you so much. Yes. We have many challenges, the youth that, especially for those who want to do some kind of business or they want to start some kind of startup things, they are facing a lot of challenge, but most of them is taxation, the form of taxation. As for us in Zanzibar, we have to pay like a triplet of taxation. For example, we have to pay Zanzibar Revenue Board of Authority, ZRB, but also we have to pay TRA, that is for the General of Tanzania, but also we have to pay so many taxes that, for example, maybe the person who's dealing with some kind of food business, so they have to provide also from food authority, they have to pay some kind of taxation also. So there is a lot of taxation that are facing youths, especially when you are just starting, the amount is becoming high to compare to your benefit. So this is the first challenge that youth are facing, but also the infrastructure. The marketing infrastructure. As the government, they did not prepare the friendly marketing infrastructure for youth or for the startup business entrepreneurs in order to do in order to get the well-being of their marketing. They can provide some kind of good, quality good with a good packaging and so on, but they're failing in doing marketing because we have a lot of investors who are providing a lot of goods from different countries. So obviously, their goods are more qualities and more value compared to the youth that they're providing, or the entrepreneurs. So the government has to provide a friendly infrastructure for the marketing structure in order to empower youth to do well in their business. But also another problem is this is the it's not that it's not a positive way, but as youth we don't like to pull ourselves to be more creative and innovative in our business. So this thing, it's really a setback for us, and it's not increasing our efficiency in our business environment. So I think that's really is enough for me. Thank you.
Okay, I think you have been quite elaborate on that response. Thank you so much. From the audience, we shall only take one person, Mr. Kerika, in at most 1 minute. Please share your submission. Mr. Josephat, on this question, kindly share your submission on the chat and we shall be able to capture it. Yes, Mr. Kerika.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Kerika Vincent. Dear colleague, actually, for our country, I'm from Tanzania, by the way, the main challenges faced to youth in the issue of enterprises. The first thing, it's all about, not about the skills. Most of the people have got some trainings, they participated in workshops, but the main challenge, I think it's all about the amount of capital. This has been a big challenge to many youth because they got a lot of ideas, they got a lot of skills, knowledge about the businesses, but they fail on the issue of taxes. But now the issue of capital. The next issue, it's all about the taxes. Actually, we know that tax, it's all about the demand of the country to move. But sometimes it has been used as kind of like a challenge to many youth because sometimes maybe a person can access a little capital, but because of those barriers he got from the government in case of tax, maybe you pay the tax of can call what actually I'm sorry for failing mentioning those kind of the taxes according to their names, but the main issues are just two, the issue of capital and the issue of taxes in the country. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for being spot on, Mr. Kerika. I now still encourage you, for those who have not yet taken the poll, please take the poll so that we can launch the other that is in the segment that we are discussing. But for now, I want to invite you, Honorable Nusrat, and the question for you is, would you say the policy environment for doing business in Tanzania favors youth-led businesses?
Yeah, of course, there are some people I would like to acknowledge, and I'll agree with contribution from the other lady from Zanzibar, Ahlam, if I'm not mistaken. She spoke very well about the youth business ventures from and what they are facing. Yeah, from my side, because we are lawmakers and we discuss about the different payments that people have to, young people have to make. Actually, generally, people have to contribute to the government so that they can start businesses. All I can say for right now, actually, the government tried, and actually they are trying every budget year to at least see what are the challenges facing the general public on how they can start and lead the businesses and they can prevail on their business. The government is trying so hard, and we would like to acknowledge the efforts of the government making sure their people are doing well in businesses. That is for the general public. But when it comes to youth, now we have maybe from the last budget year, the last budget meeting we had, we raised some issues. Me and with the other member of parliament, we have we have people who are inspiring. They have issues about youth, and they have been saying. We also have a member of parliament representing youth, including me and the others from other political parties. We all raised those issues about the conducive environment for young people to start and establish their businesses when it comes to different payments that young people have to do when it comes to starting a business. So the government is trying, but we still have a way to go. We still have a long way to go because there are several things you have to abide before starting a business and making sure it's prevailed. And you know, we young people we don't have that huge capital. So sometimes when you look at those payments you have to make so that you can start and have a business, sometimes it's very difficult. Most of them will end before the business mature. So we still have a long way to go. That's all I can say for now. But the government is trying, and actually they are listening. Because if we advise and they reduce, maybe right now we have some few things we need to work on. I don't want to say them right now because it was a decision we made in the parliament, and I won't speak here. Because if you're one of us, some of us I know Tanzanians, they know nowadays even the people who are doing maybe M-Pesa, Tigo Pesa businesses, that thing is not working very well because there's something going on right now. But with time, we know after the government, we advise. Actually, we have these committees, the parliamentary committees, and we actually advise. It's not like after we closed our budget meetings that we are not supposed to advise accordingly after we are seeing what is happening in the society out there. So we are still in the position to advise on some few things, especially when it comes to the recent issue concerning tax, the transaction tax, because most of transaction money business, those businesses, they are closed, and we know most of young people also they are working on that sector. So and actually we would like to thank our president because she at least said that they are supposed to reduce, and they reduced to 30%, which is very good, but we still have a long way to go.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Member.
I don't know if I responded well to that question.
Yes, you did. And I see colleagues that have shared responses on the chat. Policies are friendly to the upper class and middle class youth doing business. To lower class and pre-startups, policies are not friendly. And the Honorable Member of Parliament has also acknowledged that there is still a long way to go. For now, I encourage all of us to take the poll that is on the cost and ease of doing business, the topic we are discussing now. And I also want to take this opportunity, like I said at the start, we have a partner in the Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete Foundation, and I want to recognize the presence of Miss Angela, who is from the Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete Foundation, under the patronage of His Excellency Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, the former President of the Republic of Tanzania. All right, now for this segment, the last question, I would like to pose it to everyone, and I encourage us to just answer it on the chat in the interest of time. And the question is, what are the key reforms that you think are required from the government and private sector to improve the ease of doing business in your country? Some people have been saying we lack infrastructure. Some people have been saying that the taxes are challenging for young people. So we would like to hear, what are your suggestions of the key reforms that you think are required for government and the private sector to improve the ease of doing business in Tanzania? Okay, I see we've already started getting responses. Tax holiday for pre-startups, that is a good thing. For all of you that have an engagement on that question, kindly share them on the chat. while we move on to our next segment. But before we do, I also encourage that we take the poll that is on right now, so that we can move on to the next segment and also share the poll for the next segment. Ladies and gentlemen, the next segment is about enabling environment for youth participation in economic governance. And here we are going to focus on youth representation, participation, and negotiation processes of major economic decisions, policies, and institutions of a legislative or administrative nature. And of course, we have already had Honorable Nusrat allude to a lot of work that they have been doing in the House to ensure that we have friendly conversations and policies for young people. But I would like to also ask her, what single item, Honorable, I think I want two people to respond to this question. The first person will be Honorable Nusrat. What role can the private sector and training institutes play in ensuring youth participation in economic governance? Because I know as government, you definitely need support from the private sector once in a while in different areas. So as a representative of people in the August House, what role can private sector and the training institutions play in ensuring youth participation in economic governance? Honorable Nusrat.
Yeah, first of all, I think they need to train. They need to make to establish. Actually, first of all, I would like to appreciate what they are doing. Private sector is doing for making sure they train as many as youth lead organization, as many as they can, because what we are lacking, what young organization, sorry, I'm doing something. Can somebody respond so I can come back? 2 minutes.
Okay. I think I will come to you, Ms. Azan. What role do you think the private sector and training institutions can play in ensuring youth participation in economic governance?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I think the private sectors has to provide an extra effort to collaborate with the government so as they can continue to provide more training, but also continue to do the advocacy on youth issues regarding the entrepreneurship and business environment skills. But also they have to advise the government which kind of which is the best way for them to help youth regarding the empowerment, because as for them, maybe they will know, they will have done so many interventions, they will have done so many survey regarding the challenges which are where the youth are facing. So for them, they can advise the government in a proper way of empowerment youth regarding the best way to achieve the opportunities and to provide the friendly environment for them in order to succeed in their business and in their entrepreneurship skills.
Right. Thank you so much for that response. And I see we have a couple of people that want to.
Can I respond there too?
Yes,
oh, okay.
yes, Honorable.
Yeah. The PPP is needed. We all agree that we need public-private partnership. So the private sector, we assume that, and we know, because we know, the private sector has resources that they can use to train. Because in government we have local government, we have the councils, And there are this, in our country, we provide 4% for young people in their councils. So they can, that 4% of the contribution on that council, that 4% can be distributed to young people who have ideas they can do businesses. And the problem we are facing, those people, first of all, they don't return that money. So that money can be provided to other people also. Because if that money has been given as loan so that they can start business and make sure that they return that money, and the other group of young people can also take and do business and return that money. And it's supposed to rotate. Sometimes that amount, actually, we have to agree. We have to say that money is not enough. 4% of the revenue of that specific municipal council. So it depends on how much they collect so they can provide. But even that small amount, young people, most of them, they don't know what to do with that money because they don't have enough training on what they can start as a group of young people. What are the opportunities? What are the opportunities given by the development of science and technology? What they can do so that they can prevail. And sometimes they do business which are not reasonable, and which are not profitable enough, and some things which are not demanded in the society. So they fail, and we fail to collect back that money. So we need training. We need private sector to train our young people. So when the government provide that money so that these young people can start up their businesses, that money can help them. So we need people to train, and we need private sector to train, but also our education system, I'll go back, our education system need to sit to discuss. Our people who develop our curriculum need to sit down with the employers. We need to sit down with Tanzanian Private Sector Foundation. We have the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation. We also have Association for Tanzanian Employers. We need those guys to come together with the Tanzanian Commissioner for Universities so they can discuss what is needed in the job market. So we can train, we can give out, the universities can give out training which are demanded in the labor market. So we still need that. And actually, I'm very disappointed with what is going on here, because nowadays we're just touching, but we are not really touching what is supposed to be touched.
All right.
When it comes to curriculum.
Thank you so much.
We need to sit down with private sector.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Member of Parliament. I see you in the chats, colleagues engaging. Sulea Abdi, I hope I pronounced that right. You said that capacity building to young entrepreneurs. Joseph at Masanja, provide extra skills to implant knowledge obtained from studies. Fazel again tells us that INGO, INGO should provide flexible funds to civil society organizations in building, mentoring and developing capacities of young people doing business and economic governance. Keep them coming, keep the suggestions coming. And for now, I see 3 people want to engage. I will take one for this question, and then I will place another question where I will take the other 2. So for this one, I will take you, Mr. Juma Irasi. You have 2 minutes to respond. And then we shall take Gloria Anderson and Mashaka in the next question.
Well, thank you very much, Sebastian. I very much agree with what Honorable was saying, but also in Mr. Zan. But I'm of the view that training institutions and private sector foundations are the one to be blamed for young people's reluctance in practical constructs, especially in the job market, because training institutions are the ones that are supposed to provide practical trainings that will be valuable and actually enable young people to fit in the environment in the community. So there is a need to strategize the means unto which young people, especially in the economic sector, can be able to transform the formal education that they get in schools or institutions and apply the same in the situations in the society and the general competition structure in the world. The other thing, specifically on the private sectors in foundation, taking into account the fact that they are supposed to assist young people in capacity building, there is also a need for them to use a very autocratic systems. Like there is a lot of procedures and stringent rules that are set for especially young entrepreneur entities for them to either get loans or get access to economic opportunities that are provided by the private sectors. So that should be it.
Thank you, Mr. Juma Erasi, for that in-depth contribution. And now lastly, as we have Methodi Mashaka coming, I am sharing a question on what are the main services, opportunities that you wish to have improved access to, and what economic activities do you think young people want to be more engaged in? So that I have shared on the chat for all of us to interact with, but now we shall have you, Methodi Mashaka, to conclude this segment, and we go to our last segment.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Confirm.
We can hear you.
Yeah, okay. You know that youth have a lot of challenges that face them. We have been encountering several challenges, including unemployment. Unemployment is one of the part of the youth challenges. Let's state the other challenges that youth have been encountering, as poverty, lack of capital, deficiency of basics and equality, social services such as education, health, and social securities. You know that many people have been arguing about unemployment. Unemployment is not about only factors that can lead youth to succeed in economics, and other limited representation in policy making and decision making bodies. This is a global challenge. So the youth are the most vulnerable groups, as we know, in any country, basically in Tanzania, as we know that our government is having several initiatives to make them solve these problems immediately as they can. But as we use, we are capable, we are ready, we are together on making them give us an opportunity, or making them give us trust, because now there is several of youth have many challenges that facing them on agreeing themselves to be a part of development, to be a voice and a platform of amplifying youth efforts, encountering youth problems, and creating possibility of youth development. It started from the youth himself or herself. We can blame a lot of government and other initiatives, as we know that other private sectors, they are making a lot of effort to make favorable condition and favorable environment for those youth that have quality qualifications or quality professionals to get engaged on those opportunities. But youth are not aware of it. Youth are not capable, youth are not ready of engaging. As we can see, we have a lot of projects going on in our country, but you cannot even find a lot, let's say 10 people or 100 people proposing about those projects. We got, let's say, give me an example of those people who get qualified in project and management, or consultants, research and consultants, or what, they are dormant. They are still unknown. They don't want to be unknown. They don't want to be innovative. effective. So they can come with a lot of researches, they can come a lot of proposals that they can submit in the government so that they can be able to give an opportunity. So to be a knowledge and platform for youth to treasure and provide positive information, we need youth themselves to be in a front line to introduce themselves and announce their voice to the government so they can be heard. You know that nowadays we are as the youth, we are in a position of raising a voice of congratulation. So that is not an emergence of making this to be disappeared. These challenges will remain the same if the users themselves will not still on the front line to address their challenges. Thank you for this lot of views, because I wanted to share this to the face, and here we are, a lot of informative. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mashaka, for sharing that. I felt your vent. Seems like you really needed to say that, and it is important that as a young person, we hear from you sharing those sentiments. It's really important when it comes from one of us. Now, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We still have a poll running on the enabling environment. I encourage those who have not yet taken it to take it, because we are now fast moving into our last segment. Our time is fast spent, and we need to be concluding this consultation. But I also want to appreciate the people who are still sharing their opinions and views on the chat. You are most welcome, and we shall be able to capture all the views that have been shared. Okay, so I am giving us, let me pause and give us 1 minute for those who have not yet taken the poll to take the poll, because for the next segment, I want us to take the poll while I ask the questions, because then it will give us more output. So if you have not yet taken the poll, just go to your device. If you're on your phone, if it's an iPhone, it will show you up on your screen that there is a poll in progress. If it is Android, just below next to where you have your icons, you'll also see that there is a poll in progress. Just tap on the poll icon and check the poll. All right. And so now our last segment is about the leadership for the East Africa we want. And the first question is a question that I'm asking Honorable Nusrat and Mrs. Azan, because they are from leadership structures that have been elected legitimately. The first question for you is, and the poll has been launched, so colleagues, you are also welcome to respond to these questions on the poll. But the first question to our panelists is, are we preparing enough to build the leadership for the East African community we want? And if so, how are we doing this? I will start with you, Mrs. Azan. And for the benefit of all of us, I'll also be sharing the question on the chat. Mrs. Azan.
Can you please repeat the question, please?
The question is, are we preparing enough to build the leadership for the East African community we want? And if so, how?
Oh, thank you. As for me, I can say we are not preparing for the East African leadership, East African community, because as we all say, Tanzania, we do not have the Tanzania Youth Council so far, but other countries, they have already established and implement their council. Therefore, as youth, we lack this vital forum that will be very fruitful for us and will be very beneficial for us as youth of Tanzania to be able to sit down together, to discuss our issues together, and to put our issues in order to represent in East African community, so as we can build the East African that we want, which has a mutual from different countries. Therefore, as for me, I say we are not well preparing enough to build this leadership for the East African, but we still are not late to do so. As youth, it's our duty and responsibility for us to play our vital role in order to make sure that first we have preparing well our leadership in Tanzania in general, and so we can be able to prepare our East African community that we want. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will now come to you, Honorable Nusrat. Do you think that we are preparing enough for the leadership of the East African community we want? Honorable Nusrat, are you able to hear me? And thank you for colleagues that are taking the poll. If you have not yet taken the poll, please rush to the poll section on your screen and fill it in so that we can capture all your views and have them impacted. And specifically for this segment, like I earlier said, these views and the answers are specifically going to inform the East African Youth Leadership Fellowship that ULEAD and EAC are currently developing with the Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete Foundation. Honorable Nusrat, can you hear me now? Okay, I think we shall just take one person, Glory Chagama. We shall take your views, and the rest of you who have your hands up, you can just share your views on the chat. Glory Chagama. Glory, are you able to hear me? Okay, then the opportunity comes to you, Mashaka. You have exactly 1 minute to share your views.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Hello.
No.
Hello.
Okay. Gloria is here, so Mashaka first wait. Yes, Gloria.
Thank
you. Glory.
Okay, hello everyone. I would like to contribute my views about the leadership in East Africa. And my views are as follows. The first thing is we have to know how do youth take leadership. That is one. And how much are youth aware about the rules, regulation, the laws of leadership in complying with our East Africa community environment, means the cultural context of Tanzania, the cultural context of Uganda and Tanzania. And the third thing is more about raising awareness among the East African youth about the importance of them and the readiness of them to participate in leadership roles. In case we raise more awareness to youth, it means they will be more aware about the terms of leadership, what is their position in leadership, and how they can participate. Because some they might be ready to participate in leadership, but they don't know how. So to avoid the gap of how and what can I do, I think there should be more opportunities with the senior leaders to give support to the junior ones. Thank you.
Thank you so much for raising that critical point of mentorship, that all the leaders need to be able to mentor young leaders. And I think we have captured that. For colleagues, I see you, Josephat, I see you, Mashaka. Please share your views on the chat. Our time is fast spent. And now I want to share the next question. I'm going to share it on the chat so that for the benefit of people who will not get the opportunity to respond to it. But if the people raising their hands are able to respond to this question, I am also happy to have them respond to it. Are the existing youth leadership training programs accessible to all interested EAC youth, and the application for participation simple and clear enough. So I don't know whether you know of any existing leadership training programs across East Africa, but if they are there, are they open and accessible to all youth of the East African community? And is the application process clear and simple? Mashaka, I see you've insisted with your hand. Does that mean you have a response for us on this question?
Hello.
Yes.
I had a previous, so can you move on? I will come to this question because I had the answer for previous question.
Thank you. Please type that answer on the chat so that we can be able to capture it. Yes, let us hear from you, Mr. Fazal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My response to this question, that I personally know a number of leadership programs in East Africa, like YALI, IRI, Leadership Academy, ULEAD, and many other, of which some I have been engaging with. But the problem is these programs are not inclusive. First, they reach youth who are found in urban areas, but we have a lot of youth. We have a number of youth who are found in rural areas, but they don't have access to these opportunities. Sometimes those youth who have passion in leadership issues, who are passionate leaders, to be leaders for our tomorrow East Africa, but sometimes they didn't get the opportunity to go to schools. They don't know good English, and most of these leadership programs, they want people to English and everything, you know. So it's not inclusive. To my opinion, it's not inclusive, and this opportunity captures youth who are found in urban areas, and there is this problem. Same faces. Each opportunity, each leadership training or leadership program, you will see same faces, same faces, same faces. So yeah, it's not that much inclusive. Yeah, that's my
right. Thank you so much, Mr. Fazal. Let us hear from you, Lucky Maganga. Lucky?
Hello?
Okay.
Yes, hello.
Lucky.
Hi. Hello, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you. Yes, so I have just a few comments. I'll try to make them as quickly as possible. Yes, in terms of leadership, yes, we do not believe it's as inclusive. I believe it appears to be inclusive rather than actual inclusivity. The fact that we can be sitting here debating about, for example, in Tanzania, a youth parliament, a youth legislation and all of that, for years. It's been going on for 5, 6, 7 years since it was first discussed, but until now, nothing has happened. It is true that, yes, we've had a few young people getting into government, young people getting its power. Most of them are trying their best to push some of these agendas, but in the long run, they just become, you know, they're taken as just some other opinions that are being given, but not really being implemented at all. So there are all of these challenges that come up about youth leadership and inclusivity. You're almost given, I feel to some point, to some extent, you're almost given some of these roles as, you know, checking the boxes, like you're just being given to, you know, fill a certain role so that they can say that, oh yeah, we've satisfied this quota of having a couple of youth in government. We've had a couple of youth in the system, but it's not like they really take them as seriously, and therefore this usually leads to yeah, so that actual feeling where you actually think that you have the power. So I obviously support the youth having their own legislation, but I'd rather that in the parliaments that they're in, they're taken more seriously, and that they feel that they have to air their own voices rather than, you know, being given sort of talking points, which they later on go and reiterate for some other people, you know. Yeah. So that was in the leadership part. Because I know I might not get another chance. Please allow me to just add a few things also on the education side.
In a minute, yes.
In a minute, yes, I'll be done in a minute. Allow me to add a few things on the education side. When we're discussing about the system, where the education system is, whether it's good enough or whether it's not, I do feel personally that maybe we should take the weight of the government to be the deciding body in terms of how the education system should work. I do believe it should be a regulatory body, but rather than as the one that determines what form or what type of education that you have. Because I find it difficult. I mean, we keep having all of these new courses, new people coming in, trying to tell us, oh, we're going to change the system, blah, 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 blah. But it remains basically the same, because the people who you are telling to change the system only understand that system as it is, and therefore just keep repeating what they think they're making changes. Or they'll introduce a new course and say, oh yes, we've implemented something new that's in the world, but they train it the same way, they teach it the same way. So it ends up being the same exact system. Another thing is, I do not feel like we're all talking about universities and training institutions, but we spend most of our educational years in primary school and in high school. For Tanzania, for example, it's, I think, around 13 years in both primary, secondary, and high school. Kenya, it's around 12 years. And university is 3 or 4 based on your particular course. So 3 or 4 years, yes, they need to be trained, but if we focus more on the primary, the secondary education to be the one that's already training you to have this particular skills that you might need for school, for the job market, for entrepreneurship, for all of those things. That's where the focus should be. I believe that the mentality will be, your mentality will be ready for the job by the time you get there, because there's no point of you training me to just cram things for 12 years and expecting 4 years that all of a sudden I learn how to implement things. So something like that. But yes, so those were just a few of some of the things. I have a couple more, but I'll give you the chance and everybody else to continue. Right. Thank you.
Please do well to share them on the chat. And in the interest of time, the colleagues, Josephat, Mashaka, and Fazil, please share the contribution in the chat as I share our last question. And our last question is one that everyone should now just type, because the question is, which eminent African person and leader would you like to see in the East African Community Youth Leadership Fellowship faculty? So which of the prominent East African persons and leaders would you like to see as a part of the faculty for the East African Community Youth Leadership Fellowship? Share the names of all the people you would like to have as teachers and facilitators in the East African Youth Leadership Faculty, Fellowship, on the chart. And for those of you who have not yet taken the poll is still running. But before we close, I still just want to point out a few people. Many thanks to Mrs. Angela from the Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete Foundation. She has been with us for all the consultations we've had. Yesterday we had Kenya and Uganda. She was part of us, and she has also fully been here for the consultations for Tanzania. I also want to thank all our panelists, Mrs. Ahlam Azam from the National Youth Council of Zanzibar, Ms. Honorable Nusrat Hanje, and we also have other panelists that unfortunately had to drop. Earlier on, we had Mr. Alfred, one of our consortium members, who was also part of our panels. We thank you so much. And lastly, I need to point out that at ULEAD, we do not work in isolation. We work with a group of organizations, and some of the consortium members in Tanzania that we have, we work with the Tanzanian Youth Vision Association. We work with our Voice of Youth Tanzania, Tunaweza organization. We work with the Tanzania Bora Initiative. We work with the Ubuntu Hub, Innovate Hub, and then Doto Hub. So we also give thanks to our consortium members that also played a critical role in mobilizing all of you here. And for those of you that have only interacted with ULEAD for the first time today, please go to our social media platforms. We have at One Young Africa on Instagram, at One Young Africa on Twitter, and ULEAD Africa on Facebook, and follow our social media platforms. We share all the opportunities that are happening in our spaces there. And for those of you who still have not yet applied to be part of the ULEAD Summit 2021, the deadline is drawing closer. Please rush to www.uleadsummit.org and apply. I see that my colleagues have shared the links for the social media platform. So just go ahead and tap the link. When you get there, follow so that you keep informed of all the programs we are doing. Yeah, the deadline is 15th October for application, and for people who want to attend the summit physically. For those who want to attend the summit virtually, the deadline extends even up to November 1st, but it does not go beyond that. So please apply and be part of now Africa's largest youth gathering. Fazal says 15th October deadline for application for ULEAD. Yes, that is true for the physical audience, but for the virtual audience, because you know the summit this year is happening in a hybrid nature, for the virtual audience, our applications will also extend to 1st of November. All right, thank you so much for everyone that has taken time to be with us today. We are grateful and happy that you have chosen to co-create the East Africa we want with us. And Mashaka, I see you are flashing something on your screen. I don't know whether you're trying to communicate something. You can briefly unmute and share.
Join it on your group WhatsApp. I think that's one of the major helping something that you can share on your screen.
Certainly. One of my colleagues should be able to share a link to our WhatsApp group. For those of you who are also comfortable joining our WhatsApp group, it is also one of the ways that we mainstream our information. Kemi, if you will be so kind to share that on our WhatsApp group. All right, so the link has already been shared by my colleague Mafunda Kombofaki from Zanzibar. And for now, I want to make the last call for colleagues who have not yet taken the poll. Take the poll now so that we can be able to close this meeting. Otherwise, thank you so much for being part of this consultation. And have a good evening.
There are many challenges facing young people on the African continent. The biggest one of them is that each and every one of the young people in Africa have the desire to become a leader. I think investments should be made more to build the capacity of young people in Africa to become effective leaders.